Welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at another important component of financial statement, which is the income statement, also known as the profit and loss statement. The income statement represents information on financial results of the company's business activities over a period of time. It communicates how much revenue and other income the company generated during a period, and also the expenses it incurred to generate the revenue and other income. Revenue reflects amount charged for delivery of goods or services in the ordinary course of business. Other income includes gains which do not arise in the ordinary course of business. Expenses represent outflows or depletion of assets and incurrence of liabilities that decrease equity. Expenses include cost of sales, which is essentially the cost of goods that were sold, administrative expenses, and income tax expenses. Now, income statement has calculation of net income, which is governed by this equation here. According to this equation, your net income is equal to revenue plus your other income minus all your expenses. Net income is also commonly referred to as the bottom line because of its proximity to bottom of the statement. Other names of net income are net earnings, net profit, and profit or loss. In the event the expenses exceed revenues and other income combined, then the result is referred to as a net loss. The basic equation governing income statement is shown here. So your revenue plus your other income minus all the expenses is your net income. You can actually combine the first two terms, which is the revenue and other income, and call it total income, and then this equation becomes total income minus expenses equals your net income. If one company, which we may call the parent, controls another company, which we may call the subsidiary of the parent company, then the parent company is required to present its own financial statement consolidated with that of its subsidiaries. This is mandatory when the parent holds more than 50% stake in the subsidiary company. Each item in the consolidated income statement includes the entire amount from the relevant item from the subsidiary's income statement. However, if the parent does not own 100% stake, then it is necessary for the parent to present an allocation of net income to the minority interest. Minority interest refers to owners of the remaining shares of the subsidiary that are not owned by the parent. The share of consolidated net income attributable to minority interest is shown at the bottom of the income statement along with the net income attributable to the parent company. Let's look at our V Group income statement. Now, V Group sales were at 105,187 million at the end of 2009. Subtracting the cost of sales from revenue gives your gross profit of 13,579 million. After subtracting operating costs and expenses and adding other operating income, the company's operating profit totals 1855 million. Now, the operating profits represent the results of the company's usual business activities before deducting your interest expenses or taxes. Operating profit is often also referred to as earnings before interest and taxes, or EBIT. Now, operating profits of V Group is increased by V Group's share of profits generated by certain of its investment of about 701 million and also by profits from its other financial activities of about 972 million. These profits are decreased by the financing cost or the interest expense of about 2268 million, which results in profits before tax of 1261 million. Total income tax expense in 2009 is 349 million, resulting in profit after tax or net income of 911 million. After allocating losses attributable to minority interest ownership in V Group subsidiary companies, the profit attributable to shareholders of V Group for 2009 is 960 million. Companies also present what is known as both basic and diluted earnings per share in their income statement. Earnings per share represents the net income attributable to all shareholders divided by the number of shareholders. Basic earnings per share is calculated by using the number of ordinary shares actually outstanding during the period and profit and loss attributable to ordinary shareholders. So when you divide the profit or loss attributable to ordinary shareholders by the number of ordinary shares actually outstanding during the period, you get your basic earnings per share. On the other hand, diluted earnings per share calculation uses diluted shares, that is the number of shares that would hypothetically be outstanding if all potentially dilutive claims of common shares like stock options or convertible bonds were exercised and converted by their holders, which would result in an increase in the number of shares outstanding and also a decrease in the share of earnings for the existing shareholders. V Group also has two types of shareholders, which is the ordinary shareholder and the preferred shareholder, and V Group presents the EPS for both these types of shareholders. From this statement, it is clear that V Group ordinary shareholder basic earnings per share is 2.38 euro. That is, for every share that a shareholder owns, the company is making an earning of 2.38 euros for the period. The actual calculation of these numbers by every company is usually presented in notes to account section as part of the financial statements. Often these numbers are used in valuation ratios, which we are going to see in a later lecture. For now, we'll move on to our next lecture, where we'll look at the statement of changes in equity, which is another important section of the financial statement.